So we stand in front of Dollar Tree and basically,
such as this thing here.
all right, I'm excited to have a guest. A piece of metal right here, of course, everyone is. Cuba is like they're under a dictator.
RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. We are live for a Tuesday night edition of the People's Talk Show. Excited to be back. Looking forward to connecting. Lots of things worth talking about. And I want to start off by just sharing with you some thoughts and commentary from Mr. Peter Schiff, because he does a good job of, basically shooting it straight with no chaser. And wanted to share with you some things he tweeted out earlier, as well as just an update on what's happening in the Motor City. Because as I said before, what happens in the Motor City definitely impacts the rest of the world, because we are the car capital of the world. And looks like it's not looking too good, rather. But anyway, hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to the live stream. Let me know where you're watching from. If we have any first-time guests, we'd definitely love to welcome you to the community, acknowledge your presence. And then when the phone lines open up, 313-462-0027 is the number you can call and let your voice be heard. So let me just check in real quick, acknowledge a couple people, do a little maintenance on my end. Then we'll jump into about, let me see, maybe 6. I got about 10 or 11 articles that caught my attention, but I'll probably just give you 4 or 5 and see where it takes us. But I definitely want to hear from you guys. So let me know what topics you guys want to touch on. And also I'm looking to, as I mentioned, for those who have interest, join the Telegram, share articles, news, things of that nature. Makes it easier to compile all the topics to bring to you guys during these live streams, just so we can shine light on them, expose them for what they are, and to hopefully use them as more of a reinforcer for the importance of taking advantage of this window of time we've been given to do the best we can to warn people, prepare, as well as give us something to basically also pray over as well. All right, so enough ranting. Let's jump right into it. We got Ed checking in. It says, we need Jesus 100%. Vince Grant says, amen, Ed, our Lord is on the throne 100%. We got Nick checking in as well, talking about the German politician and his September 24th warning. We touched on that as well. We will have to wait and see. We got, 4 more days. So we got Mr. Tim Gibson checking in as well. Barlight Broker also. What else we got here? Keep it moving. What else we got? We got Jay checking in. Miss Love as well checking in. Appreciate everybody. Blessings with your presence. We got Bougie Prepper checking in as well. Mr. Solo's in the building. All right. Appreciate you. LBP. Looks like LBP in Tokyo. Mr. Nitty. We got Roman checking in as well. All right. So I'd love to just give a quick shout out to everybody and welcome you, Phil. Bless me with your presence. It's always good to connect with like-minded people. And Mr. A got a question. It says, there's a report that Putin has called up all fighting a man in Russia. Some are afraid of a mini new on your cream, but I think he's going to Ed, I don't know. It's hard to read that, my man, but so we're going to definitely touch on Putin as well. So if you can clean it up a little bit for me, that'll definitely help. Okay, so as always, man, I want to make sure I put it out there just as a reminder before I move forward. Let me try to clean things up on my back end here, but I put this out here. So I'm calling this the RTD Dropbox, where you guys can send articles. And so literally I grab, articles throughout the day. A couple people tend to use this RTD News at proton.mail, where you can send articles there, send stories there, and it helps me better filter through and be able to pick out what's most relevant for the matters we touch on here. So RTD News at proton.mail, feel free to do that. That'll definitely help in making things smoother on my end. And also, for those who might be new or might be coming across this for the first time, make sure you click that bell notification. Hopefully you are notified, but no guarantees, just because the algos are not my friend these days. But I'm noticing a lot of other content creators with a lot bigger channels than myself also complaining about the censorship, and it's not surprising whatsoever. So make sure you connect with all your content creators off this centralized platform here. And so here, as you guys can see here, here's a couple places where you can connect and make sure you don't miss out on what comes from this channel, as well as any updates I send throughout the day. So with that being the case, we'll jump right in. All right, let me get to this first article here. Let me get to this very first article here. This is actually not most of an article, but this is what caught my attention just because me being in the Motor City, I love to cover things relevant to what's happening in the city, because what happens in the city tends to impact the rest of the country, just because the car industry, we are the mecca, the capital for the car industry. Whenever signs are pointing to it not doing well, that ultimately trickles down to all the manufacturing components of that. And pretty much there's warehouses, there's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 suppliers scattered throughout, basically the Midwest as well as the rest of this country. And if Ford is having issues, you better believe all those other countries or all those other companies are having issues as well. And so let's jump right in this. So this is from Peter Schiff in reference to yesterday's third quarter warning, rather, from Ford. And so Peter just shares some information. Of course, when he speaks, I tend to pay attention to him just because he's a contrarian nature, but he's very truthful with his, and he's one of the guys that's been sounding the bells forever. And so I'll pay attention to what he says rather than all those other, suspect analysts that you see on all the mainstream news sources. But real quick, it says Ford is down, and actually ended up over 12%. But it says Ford is down so far today on a profit warning. It will be slashing production and raising prices to cover rising costs. Just thinking about that right now, car demand is not necessarily at its all-time high right now, just because things are cooling off and people are basically reshuffling some priorities. And so going out and buying a new electric vehicle or some type of new truck or whatever they're coming out with may not be on everybody's to-do lists right now in particular. So they're going to have some issues, not moving cars and raising prices at the same time. That's not going to work. So it says Ford is likely headed for bankruptcy, and GM will likely go bankrupt again. However, if the Fed doesn't pivot, there will be no money to bail them out. And then another little follow-up to that, which came after that. Let me check in here real quick, and then we'll get into more of this. And so it says here, Ford stock closed today down 12.3. So it was, literally closed lower. And tomorrow, it's good to say, after the Federal Reserve hikes, whether it be 3/4 or a whole point, at this point, it doesn't really matter, just because we know the trajectory where everything is heading. He says if the Fed actually raises rates high enough to reduce inflation to 2%, it's not just Ford and GM that will likely go bankrupt, but many of America's best known companies. They won't go out of business, but creditors will take ownership. So ultimately, those who own those stocks will suffer the most, just because it's been touted as the most stable and reliable, just because they're the capital, or not the capital, but they're the primary car dealers, or not car dealers, but car manufacturers of our country. So just something to pay attention to, because it's not going to get better, because I'm not sure if buying an electric vehicle is on everybody's to-do list right now. And then here's more warning about Ford. It says Ford stock has the biggest daily drop since 2011 after inflation warning. And so the chip shortage is very prevalent for them. So there's, I think, 40 to 50,000 cars just standing still right now. And that's definitely going to impact their earnings severely, which is the reason why they cut their third quarter earnings. And so just give you an idea here. It just says stock tumbled 12% today, deepest in one-day decline after automaker fell. Said inflation-related costs would be $1 billion more than expected in the current quarter, that part shortages have delayed deliveries. And so it's good to say we're going to see a much lower trend in the next couple of months. And this is just dealing with Ford. But then, as I said before, it will impact a variety of other companies as well, especially throughout the country. But here we got 1309, and it's good to say after tomorrow it's probably going to go a lot lower along with everything else. So, but we'll keep an eye on that as we move forward. And so for those who are, if you got some topics or whatnot, definitely put it out there. We'll definitely touch on that. But before I move forward, I want to make sure I acknowledge my partners in crime, Mr. Bullion Max, as well as Ford Patriots. So hold on a minute. Let me share with you this for those who might be new to the channel, and give you an opportunity to take advantage of this special deal here. So 1 second, people. Here's a great opportunity for you to get your weight up. Let's face it, our purchasing power and our currency has been destroyed in real time. That's why I'm excited to tell you about my partnership with Bullion Max. Bullion Max will ship gold and silver directly to your door for you to hold at your home or in your own safe. To help you get started, I worked out a special offer with them. Get Bullion Max Silver Starter Kit at employee pricing. Just go to bullionmax.com/RTD. This kit includes 5 of the most desirable silver products to invest in, including the American Silver Eagle and the Silver Australian Kangaroo. This offer is limited to 1 per household while supplies last, so get yours today and take advantage of this opportunity to get your weight up. Now, you can't just stop at getting your weight up. You also got to get your calories up, because definitely a food shortage is underway between droughts, flooding, and all the climate issues being thrown our way. America's food supply is near its breaking point. That's why survival food is more important than ever. Create your own stockpile of the best-selling 4 Patriot survival food kits. It's not ordinary food. We're talking about 25-year super survival food, hand-packed right in the family-owned facility in the USA. The kits are compact, sturdy, water-resistant. They have different delicious breakfasts, lunches, and dinners. Go to 4patriots.com/RTD to get your 3-month survival kit. You'll get their famous guarantee for an entire year after your order, plus 10 free gifts and free shipping. To take advantage of this opportunity, go to 4patriots.com/RTD to build your own stockpile today, because beyond the weight, you're going to need your calories as well. Links in the description. All right, let's keep it moving right ahead. So hopefully you guys have had a chance to take advantage of those opportunities. Definitely think they are some good bargains worth your time and money. All right, so what else is on my radar, man? I have something else that just, so many natural disasters within the last 48 hours is very alarming. So Sunday we had an earthquake in Taiwan. Then yesterday we had the earthquake in Mexico. And as of now, we got Fiona just wreaking havoc all throughout the Caribbean. And here's a little headline here as to what's happening at this current moment. It says Hurricane Fiona blasts Turks and Caicos. And when you see the word blast, that's let you know that it's probably severe. Turks and Caicos Islands as a life-threatening Category 3. And so it sounds like it's definitely doing some damage there. And then we had yesterday with what's happening in Puerto Rico. So I saw some video footage today and lots of flooding and things of that nature, as well as power outage. I think some areas might be up, but no telling. So definitely something worth, basically praying for here. Then we got strong earthquake hits Taiwan the other day. Just it's amazing to see buildings rock back and forth and all the disaster, all the damage that comes from that, man. And then what else we got here? A couple more here, and then open the phone lines. Here's that one in Mexico here, and also. I think Ed mentioned it earlier, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm sure about the whole Putin canceling. So today, earlier, a lot of people were anticipating some type of speech from Putin right at the time of our markets closing here today, but it was canceled. And so it will be, it was postponed until tomorrow. And so suspicion is, and what we're being told from the Western media, is that they're going to basically put forth a referendum to make the Donbass area, as well as that whole little eastern coastline that they have, I guess, regained control of, give them a chance to, I guess, become a part of Russia, similar to what happened with Crimea. And of course, the West is out now talking about that can't happen. The international community will not stand with that. But then again, I'm thinking at this current moment, the international community is completely divided when you look at all the nations that have partnered up against the West. So it's like, what grounds do they really have to stand on, other than causing more chaos and confusion in the entire geopolitical sphere? So we'll find out what is on Putin's radar. But I have a feeling that that last-minute cancellation was just a way to play with the West, to test them, to see what they would say. But he might add something on top of that as well, as an extra little caveat to his checkers or chess game that he's playing with the rest of the world. So curious to get your thoughts on that. Definitely let me know what you're thinking. And then what else we got here? Speaking of the removal of the dollar in international trade, here is just something worth paying attention to. Anything related to the de-dollarization process definitely is worth covering, just because, once again, the dollar is what we use here, or the Federal Reserve note is what we use here as our primary currency, where the world is making plans to not use it as much, slowly but surely. So it's definitely something we should keep an eye on. And for whatever reason, once India officially announced that they were going to create their own exchange, their bullion exchange, ultimately to get in on the price setting mechanisms for precious metals. And we know gold and silver has been heavily imported to that country in the last several months at a very alarming rate. They also want a piece of the pie as far as setting pricing. So I'm assuming they have that level of confidence in wanting to set prices for metals, because they're also wanting to do something with their currency as well to give it some type of stability, even though right now, weighted against the dollar or the Federal Reserve note, it's not the strongest, but once again, it's maintaining. But if they somehow put gold on the equation and try to peg or somehow equate the Indian rupee back to gold of some kind, then that can definitely be another nail in the coffin outside of what Russia has done. But definitely, they know what they're doing, I believe. So just a little heads up here. It says currency, internationalization. That's a new word that we're probably going to hear more of. India pushes for rupee trade with Cuba. And so Cuba overall, very small country, isolated from the world due to the embargo situation. But it's important just because India now has another trading partner, possibly, in which they'll be using currencies that will not be denominated in dollars. So definitely, that's, I guess, good for the Indian rupee, gives it some value outside of its own country. But then again, it's not done in dollars, which ultimately will come back to bite the West at some point in the future. And then here is another one here. Bypassing Western sanctions. Russia PSCB opens rupee account with Yes Bank to facilitate trade with India. So we got an interbank exchange between the ruble and the rupee. So just more internationalization of currencies outside of the dollar. So something worthwhile there. And then here's another little article. Turkish bank suspends use of the Russian Mir Cards amid U.S. sanctions pressure. And so it looks like one bank has decided to put things on pause right now while this whole U.S. and Western sanctions situation is ironed out. And we know Turkey is also putting in for the SCO. And so that's going to add more issues that they're going to have to figure out somehow, some way. But the Russian Mir card will be used by other banks as well as other nations. I think there are some Middle Eastern countries outside of Turkey that use it as well. So people, they have alternatives beyond just our system. All right, what else? I had a couple more articles here, but I'll spare you guys on that. Let's open the phone lines and let's hear what's on your radar. Feel free to give me a call. Lots of things worth touching on, or just highlight at Rethinking the Dollar in the chat, and it'll jump out and we'll jump on it. And then also, we all know what's happening tomorrow at 2:30. We're going to hear from Jerome Powell. He's going to get up and say something like, the FOMC committee, we're really going to try to clamp down and, nip this in the bud. So we decided to raise 3/4 points. Yeah, it's too late, man. That's the illusion of tightening. What else we got here? Persistence of resistance says sovereign currency equals world peace. Yeah, buddy. Moving away from the dollar gives the world probably will give the world some peace at some point in the future. What else we got? Anyone? Amazing how, let me see here. Murray says, amazing how they got all these actors together over the ages with tight lips. What sort of motivation do that? Don't know what you're meaning by that. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, Mike, Steve, FEMA Region 9.
Steve, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, he just dropped a video to you. If you can throw that into the queue for the guys, it's dealing with the Antichrist and the false prophet from the biblical perspective on what they'll be doing once they arrive on the scene. If you could throw that in the queue there.
I got you.
Hey, and the other thing is, you remember the guy? They made a movie off of it. It's on Netflix or whatever. Actually, it's a documentary about D.B. Cooper, the guy who hijacked the plane in 1971. He did it for $200,000.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine somebody doing that today. Somebody would go, we would laugh and
That's
go,
it?
why would he do that? Yeah, exactly. But I know. But I guess he hijacked the plane and he got away with it and everything. He parachuted out the back of the plane or something, and he never was found. So
really?
he got away with it. Yeah, he got away with it. There's a thing on Netflix. You just search D.B. Cooper and it'll pop up.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring that up is the money and how the money is getting eaten away.
Mm-hmm.
Now, $200,000 back in 1971 was a lot of money.
Yeah.
The equivalent of that today in
Yeah.
2022 is almost 1.5 million.
Really?
Yeah. It's almost 1.5 million.
Yeah.
Oh, let me think about it too. I also sent you a calendar there. If you can pull that up and throw that in the queue for the guys also, because everybody who's listening can use that calculator for their particular circumstance. However much your household makes, just clear the screen and put in what you make, etc. And it's going to tell you, it's going to show you to your face how much your money is getting eaten away.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Okay, so the CPI inflation calculator. That's a good way. That's good, man.
Hey, which one popped up on there?
I got
I'm in my car, so
the CPI inflation calculator. The one at the top, it says value of 200,000 from 1971 to 2022. So you're referring to that that 200,000 ransom that was given.
Okay, is it flipping back to like 1.4 or 1.5 mil or something?
Yep.
Yeah. And so now, hypothetically speaking, let's go back to what Ed was talking about last week.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about if you got bunch of money set aside, blah blah blah. What do you do with it? It's pretty clear to me just from seeing it with your own eyes. We all know that the money is getting eaten away, but when you see it with your own eyes, that's a whole different ball game. So if you can clear that screen, you can clear the screen.
Yeah,
clear that calculator. Now put in. Let's hypothetically say, let's say somebody has $100,000 sitting around cash right now. Go and put in $100,000.
Yeah.
And go and put in from 2021. So we're talking about just a year ago, 2021 to 2022.
So let me see. Let me reverse that. So as of now, I gotta reverse that just so it show you what. Oops, 1 second. So 202. 1 second. 2022. Calculate. All right, there we go. So as of right now, it's $91,000 based upon last year's 2021 dollars.
You see my point?
Yeah.
You see it with your own eyes, and you see that you've lost almost $10,000.
Yeah.
Just right there.
Yeah.
Just right there. So throw that. Everybody can do that with their own circumstances. So if you can, throw that in the queue for the guys also, and people can do it as they will. But yeah, $200,000 in 1971 is the equivalent of almost 1.5 million today.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. Tell me about it, man.
That tells you. Anyway,
appreciate you,
I'll
man.
go ahead and get off here, but all right, take care. You guys enjoy. God bless.
Yeah. That definitely makes you think, people. Definitely makes you think. So let me. What I'll do is go here, copy, put the link in the chat. So it's in 2013dollars.com. So I'll put that in the chat for you guys to check it out for yourself. Just a good way of getting an idea, ballpark figure. But mind you, even the numbers given to us from this source here might be a little bit understated. So that's just to give you a ballpark figure according to their measurements. And so I will put a little something on top of that just because we know that inflation right now is not 8.3 or 2, whatever they're trying to sell us on. So, but once again, everything lost in purchasing power and fiat terms potentially will be made up if you're holding precious metals. That's why I always say get your weight up, because every single instrument, every single digit, every single fiat currency note, regardless of what country you're in, it will be held accountable when it comes time to actually needing to use those units to acquire something real and tangible, especially precious metals. It's a given. It hasn't failed not once in human history, and so that's why you can bank on it that it'll be something that you can count on for preserving purchasing power. All right, let's keep it moving. So feel free to throw out some more thoughts, ideas on topics. We can touch on it. I do have something else that I want to bring out there for my people in Cali. I got some good news for you. Let me refresh this. Not sure how good it is, but more funny than anything else. But here we got California's Newsom will run for president if Biden doesn't. And so I know all the community love Newsom, so I'd imagine he's going to get your guys' vote. Oh, man, this is funny. that guy wouldn't stand a chance. Apart from if you use a Dominion voting machines and they did the drop-off ballots and stuff like that, then he probably got a chance. But if it was a straight-up fair election of some kind, then I doubt he would stand a chance. All right, what else we got going on? So Jay says, when COMEX and the LBMA go away at RTD. So it's just a matter of time, man. I wouldn't hold my breath waiting on anything to happen. I personally don't pay attention to the stuff that comes out about that, just because we know that that is the primary method of which they used through the mechanism they created starting in 1974 when the COMEX or CRIMEX became a way of trading in futures. They basically revalued or rebranded gold from money to a commodity. And here we are now 50 some years later. And the world is completely out of touch with what money really is. So I think more so we'll probably hear something from what's being developed over in the Eastern region, whether it be the Moscow exchange, the Shanghai gold exchange, or the India bullion exchange that they're creating. Those BRICS nations are definitely rolling out something. So I'd imagine they want to take advantage of being able to acquire gold and silver in USD terms at extremely undervalued prices for as long as they can, unless the West does something to piss them off to where they got to, as I say before, pull the trigger and basically expose the world to what's really going on. Vince, appreciate you, man. Didn't forget about you. It says a lot of people saying a 3/4 point hike tomorrow. I think it will be a full point. I think they're ready to take the system down. We'll see. So, Vince, as of right now, I would assume just off sheer expectation, the market is basically pricing in probably either one of those. But the question is, where are they going to go with that? You know, like how much longer will they be willing to subject the world to these type of conditions to where they either press forward or they put their foot on the brake? And it's my expectation that they're going to press forward just because they're not concerned with how the mainstream economy is really impacted, because they've made it clear that they expect some pain. Now, I'd imagine I wouldn't take them lightly at their words of some pain, expecting some pain. I just don't think that people realize how severe that pain will be and how long lasting it might be. Like, regardless, at this current moment, there's no turning back. Even if they decide to pivot, which I don't see no reason why they would, just because we all know that they're wanting to rebrand and restructure the monetary system. Mind you, they're working in cahoots, in my opinion, with the East as well to usher in something new. So at this current moment, I really don't give it much credence, just because we already know the game's up. It's just a matter of how this thing comes down, whether it's a complete crash and burn or it's a crash and prolonged type of stagnated event. But that's why I just say, do what you know best. Continue to prepare and brace for impact, knowing that things have already changed. We're already in the midst of the reset. Priceless says, what's going on at the United Nations? Great question there. I did see today one of the leaders from some nation basically just admitting at how the world is completely ass backwards, and how, because the governments around the world are not working together, they don't seem to have a grip on anything. And so either that particular leader was out of the loop, or literally he's just crying out in desperation because his country needs help as well as everybody else. So I'd imagine, they're not too put together right now, just because literally you can tell something's brewing when you see articles like this here. Let me, when I saw this earlier, Trudeau government to drop to travel measures within weeks. And so my question is, why would you wait till September 30th to make these changes? Why not just drop them now? And that's in reference to their travel pass situation. And so the fact that they're talking about waiting till September 30th. So why that 10-day window? Like, if everything is okay, there's no longer a real major health threat, why not just make an announcement today? It would probably do Trudeau some justice amongst his constituents by doing it today rather than waiting. So I am convinced that between now and the end of this month, something will happen. Not sure what. It may not hit the mainstream news right away, but we will definitely feel the repercussions of it at some point. But just when I see stuff like this, lets me know that, something's up. Like there, this health situation is still something that they want to use because they've already put forth, they've already prepaid, hundreds of millions in those experimental injections. And on top of that, for those who are interested, I put, let me actually grab it. I put a very interesting update on the Telegram about just more discoveries of what's inside those vials and how a lot of that stuff is time sensitive, meaning, let me grab this for you real quick, copy. So this is something worth just taking a listen to, because I think personally the dangerous side effects that will eventually come out in time will be a major economic geopolitical shock in a deflationary way, because if the stuff they talked about in here comes true in reference to some time release stuff based upon frequencies occurs, then we're going to be caught by surprise. And believe me, they will use that. They, meaning the governments, will use that as an excuse to say that this health situation didn't go away. It's back stronger than ever, and they're going to use the possible millions of people that actually succumb to some form of illness. We all know to be injection induced, but so yeah, like to me, as I mentioned before, the injections are way more important than anything else at this current moment. So the things I do pay attention to more than just the mainstream news happens to be the CBDC talk, the COVID injections, as well as the spiritual essence of things in reference to what Steve mentioned, and the preparation for what I believe this whole governmental shift is about, which is to usher in a one world government. So that's just my opinion. D Night says fall is coming to push something else out here, and another shot with yeah, buddy. They just they're just too friendly right now. It's too nice. They're too nice with things, and I know they want more destruction, but time will tell. Everyone except the pure bloods. Yeah, like just utilizing words like that, pure bloods. Like it's comical on the surface, but then again, they've done a good job of separating those who've participated from those who have not, and only time will tell. So literally that right there in of itself is enough to pray on, to give to God, because a lot of people have no clue what's coming. We're just talking about things we know, things we can foresee, but there's so much stuff brewing under the surface that we probably won't know nothing about it. And persistence 5G puts out low frequencies. Yeah, so part of that video I showed, the guy was talking about whatever certain frequency would be just enough to activate, and he got into all the medical stuff. Those are medical professionals, but they got into great detail as to what those possible items are that are located inside people's bodies. So take of it what you may, man, but definitely if you got family and friends that have participated, love on them hard, because nobody knows. Oh man, just more stuff to pray about. That's all. Give it to God. Give it to the Lord. 44, shut the door. What we got here? King D, it can't penetrate your skin, but I do believe, because literally like radio wave frequencies are able to penetrate the body. It's basically radiation. And so certain frequencies at certain points, I don't know nothing about the frequencies, but I do know that, if, for example, whatever Wi-Fi signals are on, times 10, times 20 that, from what I'm hearing in regards to some of these frequencies that are already problematic. Just look at some videos where people go close to those towers with those little EMF measurement things, and then watch them boys just go crazy, within very close proximity. So if they put out a little blast, ain't no telling. Just because we've never been here before. Like literally, we know that those towers are not actually to give you better coverage to watch YouTube on, especially when you see two towers next to each other every 100 or every 200 yards. Like, come on now, we're literally living in a digital cave, a digital booby trap in a sense. But that's just my opinion. So take of it what you may. But definitely give us something to pray about. All right, we're about 34 minutes. I'm going to get ready to dial back. Not much activity on the phone line, so you guys must be enjoying the rants and the chat. So as always, let's close out with a little bit of prayer. I want to definitely lift up all the people that we've referred to tonight, and those who've participated, those who have not. Definitely need to acknowledge our source and give it to God and let him do what he got to do, because nothing that we're experiencing is by surprise. He knew exactly how, what, when, and where. And along the way, if you're still alive, you have a mission, you have something to do. And if you're a born again believer, especially, God has been so good to you. It's only right for you to continue to press out and pray for people and to try to lead others into the kingdom as well. That's our assignment. But anyway, let's close out with a little bit of prayer as always for my people who want to join in. You know, there's power in numbers. Just get in agreement with me, and we can definitely make a difference, I believe. And so let's do that. But Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for the opportunity to gather tonight, and we want to lift you up, Father, for just being awesome, being magnificent in all you have done and all you revealed to us. We thank you for the blood that you've given us through your Son, Jesus Christ, that have died for our sins. And we just thank you for the gifts of the Spirit, as well as the passion to pursue the things that you desire us and you created us to pursue. Allow us to reach out and love on our family and friends. Be with them. Give them a supernatural healing right now if need be, Father. Continue to lift up and just be with all the people globally that need you right now. And those who don't know you, may they be drawn in accordance to your love for them, Father. But we thank you in advance. In the name of Jesus, be blessed, be safe, people. Enjoy the rest of your night. See you tomorrow, same time, same place. And if you have not, as I mentioned before, make sure you join the Telegram as well as rtd.locals.com so you can stay plugged in, and we can make sure we stay connected for when the time comes when we are disconnected from YouTube, because it will probably be here, as soon as stuff hits the fan. But anyway, be blessed, be safe. Have a good night, people. Peace.